We get you a preview of Friday night football on the high school level. Stephen Orr, West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show, joining us. Of course, you can hear the West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show not only here on KFYO, but also on our sister station, 1340 The Fan. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing all right. How are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to see through the fog.
Yeah, is it foggy out where you are?
It is a little bit foggy in Floydada, America this morning, but, it's fall for sure, and might want to pack a jacket tonight and might even go for the blanket.
Yeah, it's possible. And the good thing about, and I mentioned this earlier, that, it won't be raining tonight. So, football games will be on. You can't say the same thing for the folks in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, though.
No, and when we get into the scoreboard, as big an area as we cover, we probably will have some weather delays, though they won't be right here at home. But, man, oh, man, where it is raining, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah, absolutely. How big is the area that you guys cover on the scoreboard show?
We cover all the way to I-35 to the east, and then all the way down around I-10.
Okay.
So everything west of I-10 and west of I-35, north of I-10, we cover about 400 schools, and then have about 200 games every Friday night that we talk about.
Yeah, you're going to have some delays out in the Dallas area.
We really can't get out of it.
No, you can't. You can't. What are we looking at as far as some of the games this week?
Well, I think district play is well underway, and there's already some playoff positions being tied up, and a lot of that business, at least where we have 4 teams going in every district down to 2A. You're going to have a lot of people start locking in playoff berths. Maybe not seeding, but that playoff berth. One happened last night with Amarillo Tascosa taking care of Lubbock Coronado 34-13. Tascosa now 7-1 and 3-0 or 2-0 in district play has punched their ticket, and they've really put Coronado behind the 8 ball because they only have one game left. They play Friendship next week, and then the last week of the season is their open week. So Coronado desperately needing a win next week against Friendship. Another game tonight has Lubbock Monterey hosting Amarillo High School. Amarillo comes in at 6-1, 1-0 in district play, and the key to this game is, can Monterey stop the run? Because what Amarillo High is going to do is they're going to run the ball, and they're going to run the ball, and they're going to run the ball. They did that against Coronado week before last, and it was a close game, but even when they were trailing Coronado, they just do the same thing, and they continue to do it. And late in the game, they can really wear a team down, and when they're getting 4, 5, or 6 yards a carry, they can eat a lot of clock, and they can just convert those down. So Monterey is the key for them is going to be to stop the run and then to get some points on the board themselves, because they're probably going to have limited opportunities to do that. Friendship it has the night off this week. They're at 5-3, 1-1, and they'll finish up their season, as I mentioned, taking on Coronado next week, and then Amarillo High the following week. So probably the big game tonight will be, again, that Amarillo High and Monterey. Let's drop down into District 4 of 5A, and you've got Abilene Cooper and Lubbock Cooper both tied at 2-0 in as far as their district record. Tonight, Cooper takes on a 3-4 Plainview team. Plainview lost their district opener to Cooper last week. This is a pretty important game. Lubbock Cooper really needs to get this win here. And Plainview, they've had some injury problems, and I feel like this is a game that Cooper can handle pretty easily. Abilene Cooper is open tonight. Another big game, Lubbock High taking on San Angelo Lakeview. Lubbock High 0-2 in district, Lakeview 0-1. But if Lubbock High can get that win tonight, then they're going to lock themselves in with a potential for that playoff spot. And so that's a big game for them. Even though they're at 1-7, Lubbock High's just struggled to get points on the board. Of course, their district campaign got a lot easier. They've already taken on the 2 heavyweights in Abilene Cooper and Lubbock Cooper, but in the last 2 weeks they've only managed to score 20 points. So they have got to get stronger performance on offense, and they're going to have to figure out how to shut Lakeview down, but Lakeview is certainly not the offensive powerhouse that we've seen out of the other 2 teams in that district. Drop down into District 4, or District 1 of 4A Division 1. And a big game tonight has Borger taking on Levelland in Levelland. Borger comes in at 1-0 in district. Levelland 2-0 in district. They're on a 4-game winning streak, and they've had the hot hand but their last two games against a 1-7 Seminole team and a 1-6 Lubbock Estacada team, and Borger probably the toughest team they've played in a while, and this is going to have big implications in that district race as well. Also tonight you got Pampa taking on Lubbock Estacada. Pampa comes in with a 4-3 record, 1-0 in district, and Lubbock Estacada again sitting there at 1-6. And Pampa's another team that likes to throw the ball. Estacada gave up 317 yards through the air to Levelland last week, and they're going to see more of the same tonight. So Estacada's got to figure out a way to get some pass defense and to stop the passing game of Levelland. I think Levelland probably has a pretty good chance to take care of this game tonight. And then you've got Seminole sitting at 1-7, 0-2 in district. This is their open week. So right now, sitting at the top of the district, you've got Levelland at 2-0, Pampa at 1-0, and then Borger. So again, that Levelland-Borger game is going to be big in deciding kind of how things shake out in that district. We drop down into District 1 of 3A, or District 2 of 3A, Division 1, and Brownfield and Shallowater sitting at the top of this district at 2-0. Tonight, Shallowater takes on Denver City. Denver City's at 1-1, and this is a big ball game. If Shallowater can get the win here tonight, that sets us up for a big game next week with Brownfield. Tonight, Brownfield plays Slayton. That's at 2-5. I predict that Brownfield will win that ball game. So very likely your district championship game out of District 2 of 3A Division 1 will take place next week between Shallowater and Brownfield, both undefeated in district. Brownfield has undefeated on the year. Shallowater's at 4-2 right now, and that's a big ball game. But Denver City is a good team. They've struggled a little bit this year at times, but Shallowater is not the immovable object they haven't been in the past. They're very good, but they have shown some weakness and maybe some vulnerability. So you never know. Denver City and Shallowater should be a great ball game. The other game taking place in that district is Tornillo taking on Kermit tonight, and that's a battle of two 0-7 teams, so somebody is going to get a win tonight.
Good news for one of those teams.
That's all I've got to say about that.
Good news for one of those teams.
Absolutely. Drop into District 1 of 3A Division 2, and you've got Idalou will be taking on Lubbock Roosevelt tonight. That's a pretty important game in that district, as Roosevelt is sitting there at 1-1 in district play, and Idalou is at 2-0, and so that should be a really good game. Roosevelt is a much improved team. It took me a while to kind of be a believer in what they're doing, but they played Spearman, which is a very good team. They lost, but they were competitive. It wasn't a blowout game, and Roosevelt could jump up and surprise Idalou. I don't expect it, but that is a possibility. The other big game taking place in that district is Spearman taking on Amarillo Highland Park, a team from up in the Panhandle, and we'll just kind of keep an eye on that. But the big Idalou and Lubbock Roosevelt should be a dandy of a ball game, and you've got Tulia taking on Sanford Fritch. Tulia 0-7 on the year, and they just haven't had much luck, and I think that continues. We drop down into District 2 of 2A Division 1, and this is the district with Abernathy, New Deal, Floydada, Olton, Hale Center, and Tahoka. The game tonight, Floydada takes on Hale Center. Floydada is 3-4 on the year. They won their first game of the year, then had a 4-game losing skid, but they've kicked off their district campaign with 2 blowout wins over Olton and Tahoka. They'll take on Hale Center tonight. Abernathy takes on Olton, and I think Abernathy will improve their district record to 2-1 on the year. And then New Deal taking on Tahoka tonight, and that shouldn't be much of a contest either. So this one really is breaking down to who's going to be eliminated. I think New Deal, Abernathy, Floydada are going to be in. Floydada locked their playoff spot last week, and now we've got one more to go to see who's going to lock up, and we'll keep track of that. Drop down into District 3 of 2A Division 2. Lockney tonight taking on Rawls at 0-7. Lockney's 4-3 on the year, 1-1 in district. And then Crosbyton takes on Clarendon tonight. Clarendon is 3-4, and Crosbyton is 6-1 on the year, but they got upset 2 weeks ago by Quanah, and they need to rebound to make sure that they claim the district title. They're quickly down into six-man football or Class 1A. I'm sorry, we don't have six-man anymore.
Just call it six-man football. That's what everybody knows.
6-man kicking off at District 2, Division 1. It's crazy. But anyway, we've got Spur taking on Lorenzo tonight, and a big game with Petersburg at 5-2 taking on a 6-1 Valley team. That should be a great ball game. That's going to be played in Valley tonight. And then we drop down into District 3. Anton taking on Meadows, another big ball game. Meadow won their district opener last week over New Home. Or Anton did, I'm sorry. And Meadow won their district opener over Rope, 74-27. So this is probably going to go a long way towards deciding that district championship. Finally, we drop down into District 4 of 1A Division 2. And Southland will take on Whit Harrell tonight. And Wellman Union is taking on Wilson. And those teams, I think Southland probably the cream of the crop in that district with the Whit Harrell game at 4-3. That should be a good ball game as well.
Stephen Orr, West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show. Stephen, if I have no allegiances to any of these schools, which game should I go to?
Well, I think you're going to want to go out and see, if we get up in the big schools, again, I think that Monterey-Amarillo High game, just because of what it means, that's going to be a good ball game. Certainly, I would go see Shallowater in Denver City. That's another great ball game. And then one that we didn't even talk about in the Lubbock area, but one I think is going to be a good game, is the Snyder Tigers taking on Abilene Wiley. Snyder started out picked to finish 5th in their district. They're a young team. They've got a lot of talent, but they've been very inconsistent. But they're coming off wins over Big Spring and Stephenville, and they could give Abilene Wiley a little more of a contest than we want. Drop down to 6-man. I love that Valley game. I think Valley and Petersburg will be a great ball game.
All right. Stephen Orr, West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show. As always, appreciate your time.
Hey, Chad, thank you. Y'all have a great day.
You too. That's Stephen Orr, West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show, which you can hear right here on KFYO after the football game tonight or right around 10 o'clock, and goes till midnight. Also on our sister station, 1340 The Fan, 10 p.m. to midnight on that station. You can listen via the Radio Pup app as well if you're driving around this evening.